Hello and welcome to the channel here where we're going to have a brief chat about the Champions League draws that were made this morning. A guest today is Gabriel Quiroga. He is from the Barca Talk Podcast. You can follow him on Twitter. I'm going to put the wee link up here. You can see it going along across the bottom of the screen there. So welcome to the channel, Gabriel. And if you want to tell us a wee bit about yourself and about your podcast, and get any plugs in there that you need to get.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I am Gabriel Quiroga, and I am here in Madrid, and we do a podcast twice a week about FC Barcelona. And so I'm excited to talk about a little Champions League and to see, talk about these matchups. But got a lot to talk about because especially with the Neymar news that came out yesterday.
Okay, well, we'll just touch on the games as they were drawn out initially. So the first game obviously to come out of the hat then was Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Manchester City. Mönchengladbach, they were in the group with Real Madrid and probably should have beat Real Madrid in the game in Germany. A couple of late goals got them back. So what way do you see that one go?
Yeah, I definitely see Man City advancing through there. I think with Borussia, I think they're too small yet for this limelight. I think they had plenty of opportunities, like you said, to knock out Real Madrid, and they just could not do it, especially in the last night, right? I think they really kind of showed how kind of small time they still are, and I think they were lucky to get to this point, and I just think Man City's experience and talent, and especially with Pep's tactics, I think there'll be too much for Borussia to advance through here.
Just obviously on the connection with Barcelona and Guardiola at Manchester City, where do you find yourself on the Guardiola? I know like Barcelona fans, or some Barcelona fans are kind of like, right, well, we had our time with Pep, he's moved on, we have to move on, and there's other ones that are very much like would love to see him back, and have basically everything that happens at Barcelona now is weighed up against what Guardiola done. So like, where would you find yourself on that?
Yeah, I think Pep is one of the best coaches I've ever seen, and obviously having him at Barca, but I still think his Champions League CV is yet to be desired, just because I think he's too stubborn at times for these one big games to deviate from his style and his tactics. I think ultimately that has led him short of more Champions League success than he's had. And, we've seen it like in the last couple of seasons with Man City, where he continues and, he doesn't play the one-off system, right? He's always playing his system. And in Champions League, it's just a different animal, right? You have 2 games, anything can go. And your main goal is just to advance. Like, it doesn't matter how you look or how you do it. It's just to keep going. And I think Pep still needs to kind of change that, because with all the talented teams he's had, especially with Barca and Bayern and now with Man City, I think that is one of the last things that's lacking for him. I mean, I think for this draw, as we're talking, I think it should be pretty simple for them to get through, because I just think the talent is that much superior. But we'll see in the next stages what Pep does, because again, Man City just wants a Champions League title.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I know, like sort of from watching like a big NFL fan as well, and there's always a famous saying, defense wins championships, and it feels a wee bit like Pep is, as you say, stubborn and is unwilling to change. Sometimes it might just be better sit tight, and he's got loads of pace. He could take teams in the counter attack. He could play all kinds of different ways with the players he has, but he does seem stubborn. So I would tend to agree that Man City maybe won't win the Champions League, but they should win this one. So we'll move on then to the defending champions.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich. They've got drawn against Lazio. Lazio, done well in the Champions League. They had a great season in Serie A last year, but they haven't really been hitting the same heights this season. And I would suggest that Bayern Munich should be comfortable enough in this one. Would you agree with that, or how do you see that one going?
Yeah, I think this is the type of match where Bayern can even bring out their B team for this one, because I just don't think Lazio are even that strong. I know that this is still champions, and of course there can be upsets, but it's almost Bayern is just kind of, they've been playing so well lately. And for these big games, and I think with their coaching staff and so forth, they'll be able to beat Lazio pretty easily. And so this one, that's why you win the group, is so you can have these type of matchups as if you're a big club, because you want to just advance and then keep going to the next one. I just think Bayern will not have a problem with Lazio.
Yeah, they do seem, they just seem it's just like they're just like a monster, and they're just
Right.
cruising through. Like,
Yeah.
they haven't really nobody's even really laid a glove on them in the Champions League this season. So, and like I think if you were looking at it and you say Atletico Madrid got Lazio, I think Atletico Madrid would beat Lazio, and Bayern made light work of them. So I think
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that one.
I think the only thing that's going to stop Bayern is injuries, really, because I think the way Lewandowski's plugged in right now and the way they can just kind of show up for big matches compared to other teams that we see on this list, I would put Real Madrid there as well, just for big games to be able to win that one game in Champions. Bayern usually does that. And so, especially with Lazio, I don't think they'll have a problem with the two legs.
Yeah, I think I agree again. I think this one, I think the next one might be possibly one of the most interesting ones.
Yeah.
Atletico Madrid against Chelsea. We've seen this tie a few times. I have a feeling how I think it'll go, but I'll let you go first and say how you think Atletico Madrid and Chelsea will end up going.
I mean, I really think it just comes down to one thing, Simeone. I mean, if Simeone just lets the team play, I think Atletico gets by. But if Simeone goes to the same tactics, just like he did over the weekend against Real Madrid and just not letting his talent play, then I think Chelsea is going to be the better team over two legs. And so that's where it really comes down to me, because Chelsea's a really good team. I mean, they're playing well, especially when they have Giroud scoring hat tricks. They're really clicking on cylinders when they do that. And especially with these two legs, Atletico Madrid is obviously leading La Liga or in the La Liga title race, but at the same time, you can see them slipping up in the home and away in Champions League, just because Simeone always wants so much control with that team that he doesn't let the João Felix play, Llorente, all those guys that are really talented, just let them shine,
I think this one is it's quite well balanced, and it's kind of like from where like both teams could on their day be not great and on other days be really, really good. Chelsea, from watching a lot of Premier League games this season, and like I would follow Leeds United, and I would say the best team Leeds have played so far this season has been Chelsea on the day. Like, they've played Liverpool and got beat 4-3, drew with Man City, but Chelsea on the day beat Leeds. I think it ended up 3-1. They scored late on, but they just they done a better job on Leeds than anybody else, which is something that I didn't really expect, because Lampard's obviously still a rookie coach, kind of, and you've got Atletico Madrid. I do think Luis Suarez is going to make a difference for them. While Suarez, whenever he was at Barcelona, him and Messi, I think, just kind of got to a stage where you can carry one or two guys that don't particularly want to run, but with his experience and adding it around, as you say, if Simeone lets the players go, like he has done pretty much most of the season, except there at the weekend against Real Madrid, which I don't really understand why he did. But for me, I think Atletico Madrid's going to come through in that one. But it could be tight.
Yeah. And again, the biggest thing too is that we're talking about these matches that are in February. So, there can be so many things that are going into, as it stands. Like, if they had to play this weekend, let's say, I would definitely give the advantage to Chelsea just because of what I've seen their last 4 games. And I just think Lampard just has more faith in the players than Simeone does for big matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth remembering these games are in February, because that's kind of what I'm basing my hopes in Barcelona maybe winning. We'll move then on to another intriguing tie. We've got RB Leipzig versus Liverpool. So Leipzig got to the semi-finals last year. Liverpool obviously were knocked out by Atletico Madrid, but won it the year before and got to the final the year before that. So there's a lot of experience there. It promises to be a good game. What way do you think it could end up?
This is very interesting because, for example, I watched the Liverpool match last night and I just saw them struggle against a really tough Fulham team. And again, if we're talking this weekend and a two-way thing, Leipzig does have a chance because, from the experience that they got last season, I just think they have that confidence going into this season, especially just in Champions, right? The way they're playing and the way they're being efficient. And with Liverpool's injuries, anything can go. But again, with those injuries, they can get some of those players back in February. Obviously, on paper, Liverpool is just a strong team, and especially with their coach Klopp, who's awesome in these big matches. So again, it really just depends on the 2 weeks prior. But again, Leipzig does have a fighter's chance for sure.
Okay, and Porto versus Juventus. I think there's probably a strong favourite in this one, but would you agree that Juventus will probably come through it?
Yeah, for sure. I just think their talent is just overwhelming for Porto. And, when these small teams are playing these big teams, there has to be so many things that go into the home and away, right? Like injuries. So like if Juventus gets two major injuries and they're playing bad and Porto is just a solid team focused on champions, then they'll have a chance. But as I see it, I just think Juventus is just too deep right now. And obviously with Ronaldo scoring these penalty kicks that he does, I just think they're too strong for Porto on two games.
I think one thing with Ronaldo is, particularly in the last couple of seasons, in the last few years of his career, he always seems to come hot in the second half of the season.
For sure.
So obviously going back to Portugal as well, will be an interesting one for him. But I think I agree. Juventus tend to be they're a good side, although in the last 2 years it's been kind of like teams that I would kind of class around the sort of Porto level, and like Ajax and Lyon that have beat them. So it's probably as much a case of making sure that the players' heads are right for this game, where it shouldn't really be an issue in a Champions League last 16 game. It has shown that they've lost the teams they'd be expected to beat in the last few seasons. So there's a potential banana skin there, but I do think it should be too strong.
I think one last thing on that, I just think also Pirlo's just calm demeanor on the sideline really adds to, I don't know, there's like a quiet silence that goes along with him. From when they played against Barcelona, you can just see like he's analyzing and seeing and putting the players, what I have seen lately, in the right positions. I think that goes a long way, as opposed to when they had more erraticness with coaches in the past in the last 3 seasons. So again, I just think Juventus is just too deep to fail here against Porto.
Okay. And the one that obviously interest us on a personal level, and based on what happened, must be like 3 or 4 years ago now, the remontada and Barcelona, PSG, Neymar's obviously there now. There's all this talk between the two sides. On paper, it looks like a good game, although certainly at the minute, neither team are exactly on top form. So what way do you think that might go over the next few weeks?
I mean, again, I think, especially with Neymar's injury, I mean, they're saying 3 weeks here, so I think he should be back by then. I just think with Neymar and Mbappe at the top, I just think they're just too strong for our defense. On paper, if I'm looking at this and just the way we've been playing, I just see PSG just overcoming that over 2 legs. I just think we are so stuck right now. We have no attack, no momentum, and we're terrible on defense. I just think I don't really see us advancing through here. And on top of that, if we do, whoever we face in the next round, we're going to get smashed. So it's kind of pick your poison, this type of thing. I think we'll have some hope there. Obviously, with Messi, you still always have a chance. But the way the whole team has been playing this season under Koeman, it just doesn't look good to me at all. Like and as I talked to you earlier, talking about the Pep thing and champions, Barcelona is never a team that does anything surprising to other opponents during Champions run. And this is the moment that we kind of need something like that. And it's not going to happen, I don't think. So I just think PSG is going to be able to pull ahead in those two games. What do you think?
I think I would tend to agree. I think one of the sort of things is, I'm kind of looking at the game and thinking, right, well, it's like, what, two months down the line? But I'm also looking at it and thinking that, you've got the elections, so there will be a new president at the time. But the elections are arriving kind of at the end of January, so it's not as if you're going to be able to do a lot to change the team. Personally, I would have no issues if Koeman wasn't still there. But I think that whoever gets the presidency, the talk is they're probably going to go for Xavi, which again, I don't know how good he's going to be. He's been out in Qatar, I think it is, and I have no idea how well, or it's one thing winning. I know he's won a few trophies out there, but it's one thing winning them and then going to I see as the biggest club in the world. So a different level. Obviously, we'll hope that he does something like the way Guardiola done, but Guardiola was coming into a team that was a bit of a mess, where obviously like Samuel Eto'o was kind of falling out with people, and there was a few. Ronaldinho was coming to the end of his time, but where is the next Messi? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
who I don't see him. You know, don't see somebody of that quality. You know, that's going to pull him out. But
Yeah.
I think it feels to me like this season's a write off for Barcelona. To be honest, it's like, you know, just nothing major happen. Make sure we get into the Champions League next season,
Yeah.
and you know, the new board can start afresh, and you know, hopefully sort out the problems off the field, and get the things on the pitch moving forward with a new project.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, and I think it's the main focus this season should be go for the fourth, so we get back into, obviously, that we hit back in the Champions League. But again, you know, if we look at the best run of Barcelona this season was like a couple weeks ago, or you know, against when we had Braithwaite playing the number 9, and even then we were still struggling. And I'm the eternal optimist, like I want the team to play well and so forth, but the way we are just so clunking around from game to game, and I know this is still in February, so a lot can change, but I just don't see us coming together, more importantly, to fight against PSG to advance. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So as depressing as that is, we'll move on then to Sevilla versus Borussia Dortmund. I like this one. I genuinely think you could toss a coin here.
Sure.
I think they're two really well balanced teams. What way do you see that one going?
Again, on paper, if I'm looking at this, you know, just looking at it right now, just what I've seen of Dortmund, they just sacked their coach, and the way they don't play defense, I definitely think Sevilla has a chance to advance here. I'm going to always pull towards a La Liga team just because I see them all the time. I think Sevilla has the talent to pull ahead, but you know that Dortmund has Haaland, and he can get fired to get 3 goals or 2 goals and so forth. This is really a 50-50. I mean, this really just depends, especially with Dortmund getting a new coach, how they're playing before. I'm going to lean towards Sevilla just because I think they're better on defense, and I think they can come up with a 90-minute header as opposed to Dortmund. And I'll just leave it at that. I think that's what are your feelings on this one?
As I say, I genuinely think I feel like Dortmund, you know, Dortmund have such a high level, like they're potentially a high level,
Yeah.
but they don't often get to it. You know, I think if both teams turned up and played to the best of their capabilities, I think Borussia Dortmund would win it. But Sevilla, you know, they're really good in Europe. You know, they are really, really good in Europe, and consistently have been good in Europe. Obviously, the Champions League, they haven't really done as well in it. But I do think this is a tie that they can win. And like yourself, I'm probably going to side with the La Liga team. Although I have to say that I do enjoy watching
Me too.
Erling Haaland. I think he's genuinely, like, for the size of him to be as fast as he is and as skillful as he is, he's just a complete freak. And long may, you know, he stay fit. And you know, I would personally love to see him in Blaugrana, but financially, it probably doesn't look like it's ever going to happen, just with the way we are at the minute off the field. But you know, he's a guy I would quite happily, you know, back the overcome our woes as they are.
Yeah. You know, going to this matchup too, just like we talked about with Atletico, I think if Lopetegui just lets the horses play more and just let them run a little bit more, I think Sevilla is a better team, especially just more sound overall attacking and defense and midfield. But really just like these minor things, you know, I mean, this is what makes Champions League so exciting, is because, you know, these teams never face each other. So they have to do a lot of scouting, and especially with like a team of Sevilla and Dortmund, you can see either way. Like I can see Dortmund winning 3-2 match, you know, on the first leg type of thing because Haaland goes crazy. And then I can also see a 1-0 Sevilla win. So it really just depends on these matches, but it's really exciting. I think, like I said, I'm just more biased towards La Liga teams because I see them more often. So I just think Sevilla can pull off in these 2 legs.
While we're talking about being biased for La Liga teams, I'm going to be biased against the La Liga team in this one. And I'm gonna hope that Atalanta beat Real Madrid. But I think it's actually an interesting tie. Real Madrid's obviously, you know, like they're the sort of the cream of Europe, the European Cups, that their thing is the competition they've been the best in. They've dominated it. And Atalanta, they're just that plucky underdog who, on their day, can really upset teams. You know, they haven't. Like this season, they were disappointing in some ways. Where like they obviously got hammered against Liverpool at home, but then they done quite well and got a draw at Anfield, and came through them with a result against Ajax in the last games. Do you see them causing any problems for Real Madrid?
Oh yeah, I do. And again, this is the thing: is that Atalanta is a team that just goes, right. I mean, they're kind of like Dortmund, but they just go, right. And I think it's a team that can definitely give Madrid, especially on their defense, a lot of problems. But the biggest thing is, Atalanta is going to have a lot of chances, but they have to convert on those, right? They're going to make like 6 chances. They have to at least get 2 of those. And if they can get the early goal as well, I think that's going to be a lot of pressure. I mean, I wish this match had a crowd, because I think playing at Atalanta is going to give that boost, but unfortunately there isn't going to be. And again, it really just depends in February how Atalanta is. If they're fully healthy and rolling and playing with some confidence and momentum, I think they can really give Madrid problems, because just like us on the counter, Madrid is awful. They are not good, and they can be really hit. But again, like over the weekend with Atletico and the previous games I've seen in Madrid, they've gotten lucky where the other team hasn't been able to convert on their chances. And that's really when it comes down to when you're going to beat these giants. So how do you see this going?
I think Real Madrid on.
Yeah.
Like if you say until kind of like the Real Madrid have looked towards you all year, but they kind of looked like they were getting back to what they do best there recently. The one thing about Real Madrid is they do have a lot of older players. Like the guys like Modric and Kroos and Ramos and Benzema, like they're all in their 30s and they can't keep going on forever. No. And they've probably gone past their peak, and certainly in the last sort of two years in the European Cup, they've disappointed a wee bit. But I do think that probably on this day, experience will tell. I think Atalanta, they're not so much a surprise package anymore. If it was last season, I think they might have had a better chance. But I think Real Madrid will be well clued in and know how to deal with. Real Madrid will be clued in and know how to deal with Atalanta this season, and I think they'll probably see it through. So that's the 8 games. Obviously, there's a full transfer window to come between now and then, and things could change. But it's always interesting to look at these draws. Like it kind of gives you something to look at over the winter and see. You'll be looking to see how PSG is going and what injuries they have and different bits and bobs. So, my thanks to Gabriel for coming on.
Yep.
And
no problem.
As I say, I've put as we information up there. I think is that right? Your Twitter handle there at Barca Talk Pod, yeah.
That is correct.
So give them a follow. Listen to the podcast. It's always good to to share each other's work and
for sure
to make sure obviously Barcelona fans looking out for one another and stuff like that there. So yeah, my thanks to Gabriel, and hopefully we'll maybe catch up again soon. Maybe sometime if Barcelona maybe actually start to win a few games and there's something positive to talk about.
Sounds good. Have a good one. Good talking to you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.